Hi, I'm Mac McCarthy, and I help people with their breakups. Let me know if you like it. I'm going to do some more stuff like this. If you are going through a breakup right now, go ahead and visit writemac.com, WRITEMAC.com. Send your story, and I can give you my take on that. Otherwise, have a good one. But breaking up multiple times with the same ex, this was actually a request from a former client, and but someone that made a comment in the video comments, and he said, "Hey, how about breaking up multiple times with the same ex?" First of all, why do it? In my own journey, my own relationships, and my own monogamous, I guess, long-term, 5 years, 7 years, 2 years, girlfriend, boyfriend, living together relationships, I haven't had this happen. I don't know if this was because my parents have been married for a long time. It hasn't always been a happy marriage. There's been divorce looming multiple times early on and whatnot, and not going to get deep into that. But the fact that they were able to stick it out, stick together, I think that's your model a lot of times, what your parents, or if your grandparents or your aunt and uncle raised you, a lot of times that's your model of how you believe a relationship is, and longevity in that model counts. Here's what's really interesting is a lot of times you look at, okay, we're officially boyfriend and girlfriend. And the interesting thing about talking to multiple people is everyone thinks they know what makes you a boyfriend and girlfriend. They know what makes you love each other or show love or convey love. The reality is we all are different. We all have different models of love and what a boyfriend or girlfriend is supposed to do, or a husband or wife, and that is at different levels. And what I would say is, for me personally, once you get to a point where I say, this is my girlfriend, I'm bringing you to family functions or different events, I'm introducing you, this is my girlfriend. I'm not, some people, it's a big step to have social media announce it and shit like that. Well, that's up to you. That being said, once you get to that point, how should I say this? There's a protective lining where you go, we get in a fight and we're going to work this out. We're not going to resort to, hey, I guess we should just break up. Like that kind of shit in the middle of an argument or a fight is a cheap tactic by a partner to win an argument or dare you to take it there. And I haven't experienced that a whole lot. I've talked to people that do it. And if you start biting, particularly men, specifically men that go, and then she said, she'll break up with me if I don't do X, Y, Z. And the minute you do X, Y, Z, the woman now has a playbook every time she wants to win an argument to say, well, I'll just break up with you then. And that kind of shit in a monogamous long-term relationship is no bueno. I mean, that is, and you don't even realize you're doing it. You're like, all right. And a lot of times guys that are based on logic, they'll go, you know what? And I've heard this before and I understand where they're coming from because we're logical creatures. And you just go, you know what? The fight doesn't even mean that much to me. And to do what she says doesn't even make that big of a dent in my ego. So fuck it. You know what? I'll take out the trash, or for example, this is a big one. You have some girl or colleague on Facebook that you liked her photo. Your partner goes fucking nuts saying that you can't do that anymore. But for some individuals, you need to stand up for what you believe is right or wrong. But if someone's using the idea that I'm going to break up with you if you don't do what I say, gun to your head kind of thing, right? Literally. That's someone you don't want to be with long term. It's cheap, it's petty, and it's low character. If I'm with someone that I'm claiming as my girlfriend crosses the line on your morals or values, and like I said, the ones that really cross lines are physical abuse, highly verbally abusive, stealing. Someone steals fucking money from your account. There's been a couple times, this doesn't come up a lot, but someone will say, look, she stole 10 grand from my account, or, something like that. Those are the things that are hard to come back from. It's wow, you took 10 grand. Okay, I think we can work this out. It's like, wait a minute. If you're capable of doing something like that, the lowness of a move, arguing over something that can be worked out and then throwing down on the table, let's break up over it, extremely petty and weak. And every time you cave and every time you break up, only one of them, which was long distance for a short period of time, Did we break up and then get back together? And we broke up because of the distance. I mean, there was a few other things, and then we got back together. You know why we were able to get back together and work it out? Because the distance was the problem. And once the distance was erased, that was the problem. What people don't realize is, I'm going to get to this in a moment. This is why you break up multiple times. Why do it? Number one, loneliness. You can't handle 2 days of being alone and not contacting your girlfriend. So you break up, you have your reasons, they cheated, they stole from you, they called you a bitch, they called you an asshole. Sometimes people have words that really hurt them. Can't believe they said that to me. Okay, that's in your morals and values. And you go 2 days, 3 days, 1 week, 2 weeks, and you are lonely. And you think to yourself, this doesn't feel good. I miss her so much. So we better get back together. And then you just put to the side like snow on the street. You just put it to the side and you just go, those problems we had, let's just put it to the side and make up because I don't like being lonely. Right? Problem is the problem didn't go away. The problem's just sitting on the sidelines waiting to jump back in the game. The loneliness is something that you are going to have to deal with in any breakup. It's a void, right? And you need to deal with that. I've talked about that before. Changing your routine, getting more active with exercise. I've talked about these things, and sometimes people go, "Oh yeah, you just say to do." They work. They help. Okay, you can combat loneliness. The idea that you have trouble sitting alone or being alone is something that actually will be valuable later on in your life. I know that through my second breakup that was really, really bad and really tough on me at the time, not now, I embraced the loneliness and the isolation in certain moments to do some deep thinking and soul searching. And I actually didn't like being around a lot of people because I wasn't feeling good about myself or my life in a lot of ways. And so I needed to do some self reflection. And I actually embraced the isolation. And instead of going, I'm so lonely, I thought to myself, this is a time to shut off all the distractions or people giving you advice based on what they want for you, and actually going, this is a time to think deeply and embrace, is this relationship good? So you take that loneliness and you go, wait, I'm going to journal out some issues. I'm going to mind map what I want to do with my job or career. I'm going to try to find out the ideal kind of woman I want to have in the future. I want to know the ideal kind of job or place I want to live at the future. This would be things that are proactive with your time alone. Next up, in the breaking up multiple times with the same ex, why do it? Lack of confidence. You're scared as hell of being alone and being back out there in the dating world. It's common. I understand. But at some point, would you rather have a broken, wounded relationship, or would you rather give yourself a shot at a healthy new one, which might not come in a month, 2 months, 3 months, might be a year, might be 8 months, but it'd be damn better than now. It's kind of like one of those things where you're like, you got a broken down car that you just keep fixing and fixing and fixing. And you're like, oh, I don't want to spend the money on a new car and have to pay payments every month and all this other shit. But at some point, wouldn't it be really nice to stop having to fix your car or having it break down on you all the time and have the confidence that you'll somehow find a way to make that payment and pay for that car? And the same thing is, you got to find a way to go, wait a minute, I don't deserve to be in a relationship like this. You need to go on offense, and you need to find the confidence that you can find someone equal or higher value. This isn't grass is greener. This isn't rebound shit. This is you going, this relationship is not good. I've had better. I can do better. Okay. Give yourself a little bit of credit that if you fucking pulled an individual that you have currently, you can pull someone equal or higher value in the future. It's not luck. It's one of the worst statements I get when I'm in a live coaching session. Well, sometimes I think I just got lucky. What? Excuse me? I'll stop someone. I'll say, excuse me, what'd you say? Oh, I think it might have just been luck that I met this person. No, people don't fall out of the sky and then they're your girlfriend or your boyfriend or your partner. There takes a certain level of attraction. You might have did some things right by accident, non-knowingly. That doesn't mean that it was luck. And so when you start getting into that point, that means you're at a place of low confidence. And that also is unattractive to your current partner and contributes to your breakup. And so confidence actually comes from being good at things. People always say, oh, you need to be more confident. How do you be more confident? How can you become more confident? Oh, make more money. No, not necessarily. Be good at some things. Someone doesn't have to be a star athlete or ball player to be confident. You could be really good at cooking. You could be really good at playing the piano. Okay. And those things will make you more confident because at least you have something you're significantly good at. If I ask you, what are you good at? And you're like, nothing, that's sad, right? So you need to develop some skills that you feel good at. Not identifying the problem and fixing it. This is probably one of the biggest things of why you're going back to the same ex. Instead of dealing with the loneliness, instead of dealing with the lack of confidence of meeting someone new, instead of actually saying, I'm going to have to take 2 steps back before I take 2 steps forward, but also not even realizing, for example, when I just mentioned, an ex that I got back with, the distance was the problem. So if we're going to get back together and we're going to continue to be long distance partners, the problem is going to bubble up again and then you're going to break up again. So identify the specific problem, addictions, alcoholism, retailism, whatever you want to call it. There's some couples, someone has a spending problem. Oh, I just can't help myself on Amazon or one of those things. Well, that's a fucking problem when you're a couple and you share bills and you need to borrow money and this and that. That's a big issue, right? And so someone goes, hey, hon, I need you to stop running up the credit cards because we don't have enough money to pay them. And then the wife or the girlfriend, maybe even the husband goes, well, makes up some excuse and continues to do it. The problem isn't getting fixed. And at some point you need to say to yourself, I need to break up with this individual because they aren't going to change anytime soon. And if anything's going to change them, it might be the breakup. Now, the last one's very, very, very common on why people break up multiple times with the same ex. They make up with emotions, not logic. And what is that usually? Good intimacy, right? Oh, when we break up and we hook up, it just melts all the worries and the pain. I understand. I've been there. I've done that. I'm not talking down to an individual like that. That'd be stupid. I'm just saying, if you're asking me the question, why do you think couples break up and keep getting back together? Well, because one individual has a playbook where they go, if we break up or I do something wrong and I show up in a raincoat with nothing underneath it to their doorstep, I can make up with that individual very quickly and then melt away any of the problems that we had before. The problem is when the intimacy is not there and the emotions and the hugging and the kissing aren't there, and let's say someone's a truck driver and he's got an 8-hour drive and he starts thinking about, wow, I don't have intimacy right now. So let me think about the problem that I have with my girlfriend or my boyfriend about them, talking to their exes or putting provocative photos on Facebook. These kinds of things come back up. And then you call them up and you're like, you know what? Even though we made up, actually, I'm really pissed that you called Ron because you guys used to go out and I told you not to call him. You see what I'm saying? And then every time that you break up to make up, it becomes an element of your relationship. And so when people go, oh, this ex keeps breaking up with me, you play a role of either accepting it, and you always have a choice if you accept the behavior in a relationship. So it's always kind of puzzled me because in my own journey, I haven't been big on the multiple breakup thing. I've gotten pissed at arguments, right? I've agreed to disagree, when you agree to disagree in an argument, there's a lot of dignity and value in that. You get to a certain point and you go, you know what? It's up to you what you want to believe, or it's up to you what you want to say. I'm done. Agree to disagree. Going into, you know what? If you don't do what I say or believe what I say, well, I'm breaking up with you. That to me, playing like that is dirty. It's kneecap theory. It's like you went to the lowest place. Like really, you're going to take it there to win an argument? That says something about someone's character, and that's not someone I want to be with long term. And that just gives me an ill feeling to think about someone doing that to you. Because in your head, you're like, no, I don't want to sacrifice the relationship. And then they go, okay, well, then do what I say. Think about that for a minute. Are you that person?